I just got told to get shut up by John Vesmar. What the heck?
Maybe he's sick of you. I don't know.
John. It's gotten to the point. Honestly, John, what's going on?
I'm sick of you.
I told you guys to shut up because during this intro song for 5 minutes, the bits we were talking about were so good. I mean, we were laughing our asses off.
We were laughing in the
and I was like, shut up. We got to save this for the show.
I know.
Maybe he was just worried you wouldn't be able to stay focused.
But
like we remember it.
You wouldn't remember.
We were like
About
busting out some funny jokes and good nuggets right before we went on air.
Yeah.
But it's getting to the point where we can't even talk to each other normal anymore without John getting pissed off at us.
Yeah, or when I see you guys outside of the podcast, I'm not interested.
We just don't even. We just pass by each other and just like wave.
Hey, what's up, John?
Because how dare we talk to each other and God forbid we make each other laugh.
No, save it for the show. Like Kevin starts to talk, we cross each other in the hall. I'm like, shh, I put my finger up to his mouth
for the show, right up to my lips, John.
Really sweet.
Right on my lips.
Save it for the show, Lindsay. Save it for the show.
But that's where we're at. I mean, twice a week we gotta remember every bit we can think of.
Yeah, we may run out.
Dude, I forget. That's why I use my iPhone. I write down the funny stuff that happens in my life.
Stay focused.
Like that goose that was chasing me.
That was funny.
After I was sprinting
after
away.
You made it
I was
away.
in the middle of being attacked.
I like typed it in right there.
As I was running, I was typing with my phone.
No, maybe after you got to a safe distance.
If I was running, I was thinking to myself, if this goose wasn't so fast, I would be taping this and it would be golden
for the show.
But that was a damn fast goose. It was a sprinter. it was definitely the fastest one in the group. That's why he chose.
That's why he took you on.
Yeah,
he was the alpha.
He's like, this guy looks slow. I'm going to take him.
Alpha. Hey, we got a Festival of Lakes announcement we're going to make this morning.
Oh, this is exciting.
But we're not going to do it right now. We're going to let our audience build up. Build up the dang audience. Like, tell everybody we're about to announce.
What about the poor people that are just listening
I agree.
and always are on early?
Well,
don't insult
them.
No,
I'm not insulting them. I appreciate all of you, the thousands that are listening to us right now. But we want tens of thousands. That's what we're going for.
Tell all your friends.
So this is something... We have a festival every year. For those of you that aren't from where we are, we're from Northwest Indiana, right outside of Chicago. We have a festival every year with rock acts, 5 nights of free
admission. Free admission.
And we're doing something unprecedented this year.
Yes, we've extended to Tuesday.
We're going Tuesday night show. So we're announcing the Tuesday night act today in about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, so we're just
right
doing
after our
the 5
ads.
days, right?
What's that?
We're just doing the 6 days?
6 days.
Possibly.
We're not doing a full week?
That's a 6-day fest this year.
Why?
Wow.
Why would you say such a thing, Lindsay?
Because I'm tired.
Well, like, I mean...
You're
Tom, tired, right? Yeah.
We have a couple of our bartenders in the comments section right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
They're excited.
Thank you for the Red Bull vodka.
All right, well, good.
Vodka,
so,
Grey Goose.
Yes.
Grey Goose and Red Bull.
You'll be there. That's your festival drink.
Yeah.
Summer drink for the
Because I normally go to bed at like 10 o'clock. And at the fest, the concerts don't end till like 11:30.
Like, I need some Red Bull.
I need
right
Red Bull
now
to stay alive. What were you going to say, John?
For the record, I'm with Tom on this one. I don't think we announce this news until there's at least triple-digit viewers.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody watching right now, just share the stream. Just click share. Share it on your page. Once we get to triple digits, Tom's going to announce the biggest news ever about Festival of Lakes.
A lot of country fans.
Share it right now.
Country music fans are going to be happy with this.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
All right, there's the tease. There goes our numbers. They just went away.
See, you just
he gave away too much.
I could have been bluffing. I could have been like,
that's true.
I could be about to announce some rap act right now.
Or death metal.
We don't know.
Heavy metal. Heavy
Sick.
metal. We could do a lot of things.
All right.
I could be messing with
Metallica's coming to the fest.
You've been
What?
Metallica? Is that true?
Is that?
Stop starting rumors.
I heard it was
Resmar.
Radiohead, actually.
Oh.
Yes.
Love Radiohead.
That's why Lindsay's got.
That's why I got my backwards Radiohead shirt.
Well, let's do our commercials, and then we'll come back and we'll announce this Tuesday night act.
All right.
That?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Lindsay.
All right, you're listening to Left of Center, where we cover everything from important events of the day in the Midwest and the nation, all while having way too much fun while doing it. If you can't get enough of us, you can follow us on Facebook at Left of Center Podcast or on Twitter at LOCPOD, LOCPOD. If you can't listen to us live, you can download our episodes from the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio apps. Just search Left of Center Podcast and look for our red and blue logo. Also, don't forget to subscribe and rate on every single one of those applications, please. And yeah, that's it. That's the end.
Thanks, Lindsay.
You're welcome.
Dude, by the way, the hype is real in the chat. Everybody wants to know who this act is.
Ooh.
They're freaking out
it's
country.
I'm going to tease it a little bit more.
No,
okay.
They recently received a major award.
Oh, like a leg lamp.
Yeah, like a leg lamp.
All right.
Major, widely followed.
A major award.
I think it was an Academy Award.
Okay.
Like
An Academy Award. An Oscar? They were in a movie?
Yes. They were, yeah.
Exactly. Lady Gaga.
I could be bluffing, though.
I could be wrong about that.
No, I could be bluffing. I'm never wrong.
Are you sure you're not talking about the Country Music Awards?
Whoa.
Oh, could have been.
All right, here we go.
Could have been.
I don't watch that stuff. But
no, I don't either.
I've heard that they recently received a major
award.
A leg lamp.
That's right.
Powering America is Northwest Indiana's trusted source for electrical professionals. If you are a developer looking for a large-scale electrical contractor, Powering America can help take the guesswork out of finding a professional you can trust. Their select network of electrical contractors are committed to employing local electricians that have successfully completed a certified apprenticeship training program registered with the Indiana Department of Labor. All employees are held to a high standard of professionalism, expertise, and knowledge, and all of their contractors are licensed, bonded, and insured. If you would like more information about your electrical needs, visit Powering America today at certifiedelectrician.com. That's certifiedelectrician.com.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Tri has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years and can provide your business end-to-end communication solutions. For more information, call Tri Electronics today at 800-722-6793 and tell them LOCPOD sent you. Thank you to Tri Electronics.
Byway Brewery is a family-friendly microbrewery with spacious taproom and outside patio, perfect for enjoying its finely crafted ales, lagers, and chef-driven food. Brewing equipment on our production site offers a unique backdrop for your private event like bridal and baby showers, reunions, and corporate events. Conveniently located just off of 8094 and the Kennedy Avenue South exit, come by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu.
Grizzolia's Concrete was voted #1 in the Times Best of the Region 2020 and specializes in all of your concrete projects. Grizzolia's has been using the original cement finish in California style since 1972 and also offers stamped and colored concrete. For more information or a project quote, call Grizzolia's at 219-659-4127.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard of Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. The Martinez model for success has always been responsive customer service, great tasting products with an authentic Mexican taste, and high-quality standards. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
One of the things before you announce, we forgot to mention what a great guest we're going to have today.
Yeah, Lake County Prosecutor Bernard Carter.
It's great.
He's in the parking lot. I was walking in and he was there. And it's going to be a great show. It's a great time to have Bernie on as our guest because obviously there's a lot going on in America. And Bernie shares a unique perspective being a longtime prosecutor, also a long time. He's an African-American gentleman. He's been a prosecutor for
25 plus.
Yeah. As long as I practice law, he's been the prosecutor.
As long as I practice law.
Right. So Bernie's been there a long time. He's seen a lot in his time, and obviously he's, we're going through history as we speak right now.
He's got a unique perspective for sure.
I think Bernie's going to be a great guest, and anybody that hasn't heard Bernie give a speech or talk, he's a pretty interesting guy. He's very smart,
solid guy.
Yeah,
it's going to be good.
So anyway,
all right,
we're going to do this thing.
Let's do it. This is very exciting.
This is very exciting. I often have country music fans that get frustrated with me
all the time.
Yeah, and I'm usually flippant. When they get
from experience, by the way, it's not like you just said I don't like country music.
They're like, Mayor, I need you to bring this country act. These are great. They're going to pack the fest, and for a number of reasons, it never seems to pack the fest.
Yep.
For a number of reasons,
maybe we got bad weather. Maybe we got this.
I remember one time we had a
Big and Rich. No, they were good.
They were good.
Charlie Daniels Band rain. If you count that as country.
Yeah, it always seems like country night is always bad weather night. Okay, we had a guy that got on top of the piano and danced. I forgot his name. It was like 110 degrees that day when he played, and it was bad. That's just as bad as rain for your crowd. Nobody will come out if it's that hot. So anyway, it seems like we never have any luck with country night. And then people say, Mayor, we need a really good country act, and then I'm like, get out of here with that. Like I go country act, and we never succeed. So.
And then COVID hit, and then you had and then you suggested an extra day at the fest.
Or two.
Or one at least.
Whoa.
Or two. But anyway, so we went out and got a Tuesday night act for the first time in Festival of the Lakes history.
Yeah.
So what's the date on this?
That would be the
13th.
13th, July 13th.
It was a rhetorical question. I was seeing if you knew what was going on.
Yes. It's the first day of the fest.
I knew the answer when I asked it.
Mm-hmm.
I was not
it's
impressed.
A quiz.
I was not impressed.
No,
I thought you were going to be more ready.
I stumbled.
Old Dominion.
Who's that?
Whoa.
They just received Country Music Awards, the American Country Music Awards Group of the Year. They just won like 2 weeks ago.
I meant that rhetorically. Who's that?
Old-
Everybody knows. Let's just continue now with the rhetorical
Old
part.
Dominion is playing Hammond's Festival of
It's
the Lakes.
huge.
Our headline act on Tuesday, July 13th. We're very happy
So I was correct.
about.
Country Music Award.
Yes. you
Yes.
were. Oh, I thought you knew that. I thought you were
No.
just being funny.
I don't know who Old Dominion is. I just know that country music
That's a
has
ringing
their own
endorsement.
What
praise.
what I can tell you is that when I've mentioned it to Old Dominion to folks, they are pumped, like really pumped.
Like who?
Very well, Phil.
Okay. So we're going. What was Phil's record on picking football games, Lindsay? I remember you
I
beat
was
him.
kicking his butt.
Yeah.
I was 10-4 and he was 4-10.
He was 4-10. So like he doesn't know anything about football. We get that.
He says he knows country music though, and I trust him. This is a big deal.
So we're hanging our hat on Phil Talon.
Yes, this is a huge
Phil Talon.
deal.
This is all you, bud.
The chat is kind of excited too.
By
They
the,
seem to
Talon?
be thrilled.
by the way, what I would say about
This is Phil's show.
Yeah,
if
it
this
is.
is a bad show,
no,
somebody's
impossible.
going down.
They
and
just
it's
had
not gonna be
like
Mayor
song
Tom,
of the
you know?
year or something with one man band.
I'm
so-
elected to a 4-year term. I mean, I can't lose my job, but chief of staff, I've
That's easy.
gone through a number of them.
Oh,
so
God.
That's easy.
It's all right. Phil's hanging his hat on this one. I'm
What I would say about Old Dominion is, thanks to COVID, we got them. Because if it wasn't for COVID, they
Agreed.
just wouldn't be touring. Like they had a
They-
whole tour set up for
First
this
off,
year and last year.
Keith Urban, right?
Yeah,
Or they were opening for
correct,
someone huge.
correct. I
Yeah.
think that's right.
But-
Chesney.
Chesney,
No.
Kenny Chesney, yeah.
But
Oh my
this is the type
gosh.
of band that probably would have never played Hammond were it not for COVID. Also.
That's right.
This is a big time band.
Big deal.
This is like they play, the outdoor
Northerly
venue.
Island. They
Right.
play
What's the outdoor venue in Chicago?
Northerly Island.
Tinley
the other one,
Park.
Tinley Park.
Oh,
Thank you.
Tinley Park. They also played right outside United Center.
Yeah.
And had a huge outdoor.
They played outside the United States.
Yeah, they had. I saw this picture. It was
Really?
packed, crazy packed.
They
That's
also
cool.
have a outside of the planetarium. They have that venue there too.
Northerly Island.
Northerly Island.
That's
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently,
so
Old Dominion's won this group of the year 4 times in a row.
That's pretty
Nice.
amazing.
I've seen these guys in concert.
That's a good
Kevin,
streak.
haven't you?
I've seen videos of them. I've never.
No,
seen
you
them
weren't
live.
with us on that trip to Arizona.
Not when we saw the.
We went to
no.
Arizona. This is Phil and Kelly, and I know they were there. I think the Kennedys were there. Marissa and I were there, along with other people. I can't remember. Were you there, John?
No.
So we have a room at the Talking Stick, the Indian casino out there. It's got a concert venue.
Oh, that was them.
Yes.
I was there.
Yeah.
Maybe
we were
I
like
was
in
there.
we were right across. Phil's had that.
I didn't know that
Special
was who
room.
it was. Yeah, that
We
was
went to Phil's room, and it was like a skybox
Yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah.
concert. That was Old Dominion.
no
Oh,
kidding.
no,
Yes.
I wasn't there.
And they were great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Hey, listen, I know you guys can't see the chat right now, but I think there's more based on the chat. From what we've announced so far, Limp, REO, I think there's more reaction now to Old Dominion.
So you're hanging your hat on this one too.
I'm not, no.
Oh,
No,
So
Phil
this
is
is
the
just Phil?
only one.
Okay, this is Phil's hat show. All right, so for all you country music fans, if you want to save Phil Talon's job, this is your show.
Well, and by the way,
Right?
they've been waiting a while for you to do a country act, so they're pumped.
I agree,
Yeah.
but like
Let's-
this is Phil Talon.
It's on-
I'm going to
it's-
put him on stage that night.
How about this? I mean,
to throw T-shirts to the crowd. Phil, you're going on the show that night.
oh, he's gonna love that.
I would throw this out there that to country music fans in the area, if you want the mayor to continue to consider country music,
Yeah.
This
get
is
on
sort
out
of
there.
this is sort of my
It's a
last.
test.
This is sort of my last stand with this.
All right.
I've been very patient.
Yes,
I've,
you
I've
have.
brought a number of
You've
country
waited
acts,
for the right band,
and I'm waiting for the big time show.
and it's Old Dominion. This
Told
is the
it-
right
I
band.
got the group of the freaking year. I got the group of the freaking
4
year.
How about
times
that
in
for
a
timing?
row.
How about that? All right.
Yeah.
You want a country
You're not
act?
joking around.
Mayor, could you bring country act? How about the damn group of the year, huh?
Look at
How
you.
about
That's
that?
amazing.
Why don't you just bring my crowd? That's how I'm
Yes.
going to introduce them. You guys want a country? How about the damn group of the year?
Look at you. You're
Get
giving
your-
away. You're giving away your
I love
speech.
it.
I like
I'm
it.
working on it
You're
right
testing.
now.
You're working on it.
I'm telling you, if it's not a big crowd, can we all agree that
We'll
I've-
never do
I've been very
country
patient.
again.
I
Right?
I am not a country music aficionado. Can you say that about country music? Anyway,
Wow. Really?
But I can tell you this: these guys are big. Everything I read about them, everything I
Agree.
hear about them, they are big, and people are going to be out there.
I can't wait.
I'm going to support Phil on this. I
Phil's
think.
in the chat, by the way.
yeah.
I think the marketing for this
Old Dominion
writes
rocks.
itself. It's Save Phil's Job. Come out to Old
Save
Dominion.
Phil's job?
I don't even
Phil's
think we'll
job.
need it. I think
Phil
Old
needs
Dominion's
his
going to do
job.
it on
Phil's
their
got
on
a
their
young
own.
Poor
family,
Phil. You
everybody.
guys are so mean to Phil.
He's got a young family. We don't want him to lose his job. So
Go big or
save
go
Phil's
home.
job. Show up to the show. Have a big
love it.
time, right? Hashtag save Phil's job.
I love it.
Right? Okay.
Old Dominion. By the way, just a reminder, everybody, you can go to festivaloflakes.com for everything festival, including your ability to get limited availability for this one because we believe it's going to sell out pretty quickly. VIP experience passes, and they're discounted while they last, $60 till June 1st.
So, Kevin, I see that on the graphic here. VIP experience upgrades, festivallakes.com. What does that get you?
That gets you front and backstage access
Nice.
to a VIP experience bar, and all kinds of other exciting stuff. Just being close to the action, I think, is the biggest thing.
Everyone can see you, Tom.
Yeah, again,
But like this is a
again,
podcast.
Roll it along.
Again.
This is a podcast, though. I'd like to point out that when I'm doing hand signals, the people that
That
are
are
listening
listening
to
and
the
subscribing.
podcast, they don't realize. They don't realize that.
And the
They
people
don't
that are
realize
watching
I'm
are
doing-
just laughing.
But when you say you're doing hand signals, Tom, it sort of gives away the fact I'm using hand. It'd be like if I was a baseball coach and you were at second base, and then I gave you the steal signal, and you go, "Coach, you just gave me the steal signal." You'd be like, "Why did I give you a hand signal? I could have just said, 'Hey, Johnny, steal third base,' right?"
yeah.
So when I give hand signals in the studio,
But we all know what
It's
the show's
hard to
going on. I'm
understand your
talking.
hand
Should I just
signals.
go like this when you're talking?
no. I was like on the same
Come
page.
on, let's
like,
go.
No, I'm saying we're like digging in a little on.
But since we started talking about it,
I
we're in
wanna make
triple
sure
digits
we're-
now.
Thank
people,
you.
People
Thank
want to
you,
hear
John.
about this.
Thank you. Thank you,
All right,
Locomotive.
let's keep talking.
I
about
just wanted to remind people, festivallakes.com for VIP experience.
Can you cancel
passes.
Bernie? We're going to keep talking about
yeah,
Old
right.
Dominion.
Poor Bernie's out in the parking lot. We're talking about
Well, if he's in the parking lot, we can't just
Let's do
sneak him in
15,
here.
20 minutes on.
All right, fair enough.
Let's move on.
Old
But I will
Dominion.
say, hashtag save Phil's job is now trending.
Awesome. Good.
All right. By the way, you had an interesting week. Back to Mayor's Night Out.
Yeah.
You were back on action. And
So Mayor's Night Out, for those of you that aren't aware, we've been doing this for 17 years. 16 out of the 17 years, where I go out in the public.
the only year you didn't was COVID.
Right. The only year I didn't was COVID. So we go out, we have open comments, and this was the first district, which in Hammond is a tough district. Not because it's a district with very educated population,
Very active.
very active population. Environmental issues because it's a natural area, but it's also got industry and homes all in close proximity to each other.
And close proximity to the lake, Lake Michigan, and
Right.
close proximity to the south side of Chicago.
So you add all those together, and usually the first district it'll test you, and it'll make sure that you're on your A game. And the other day was no exception, right, Kev?
Yeah, that's right. I think, just to understand the format, and this is something that I don't know a lot of mayors around the country do because, in fact, people have modeled their own after what you've done.
Crazy
I know
people.
over the 50, right? But
Yeah.
so, what you do is you make sure every department head's there. So you have 25 staff members there, and you basically say, "Ask me whatever you want. Let's go."
Let's go.
Yep.
Game
and,
on.
And I think it's good for you because you I think educate yourself on the topics for that. Not that you don't know anyway, but it's good for you to get out there and what's buzzing because you always say, "Look, I go a lot of times if I hear a lot of complaints, that's what I know is a big topic."
Yeah, you're right.
And so, but go ahead.
But the other day, I was getting beat up on a number of issues.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the show with the dead waterfowl. That's the first district where we were. We also have a mysterious humming sound that we've been talking about a little bit on this show as well. That was the topic the other day. And we had a recent unauthorized discharge from a plant up there into one of our lakes, which pissed people off, which is another topic. And then there's lead issues with some of the houses in that area.
some legacy lead issues. Yeah.
Legacy, going back to the 30s and 40s,
Yeah.
which is another topic. So you take all those topics together, and let's just put it this way. To get people to back off a little, I put my cell phone number out
I was
publicly.
Yeah, if you watch that video, I probably put my head down when you did that.
I heard about this, man.
I put my cell phone number out there, and then I'm like, nobody's going to abuse this, right?
True.
It's the mayor,
Right.
so. And I said, text me because I don't answer phone calls I don't recognize the number for.
When you specifically text you for a
The
reason.
humming sound. The humming sound. If you hear the humming, because we're having trouble identifying the sound, right? So I get home and I'm limping because I hurt my leg and running that day. And
Triathlon training.
I'm miserable, and I get home and I'm limping, and I get this big ice bag on my leg, and then my phone starts blowing up. The humming sound is going. Now the first district is across town from me, so
Probably 15, 20.
So I put out a text to my new sound response team, and I drove the Mustang out there
awesome.
very fast, right?
Sound response.
And I got up there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear shit. I didn't hear shit. I drove across town, and I get out, and I'm like,
Pretty, what? As a mayor, that's pretty cool. You're like, all right,
yeah.
fine.
I wasn't super happy about it though. I
Bring
drove
the ice pack.
I'm in my freaking slippers. I got an ice bag on and my pajamas. I look like an asshole, right?
In a Mustang.
In a Mustang, cool ass Mustang, right?
Who's this old dude in his slippers and a
Right?
Mustang?
I felt
man?
so foolish. Phil looked at me, and Phil's in a suit and everything. He's like, okay, but and Phil and I are looking at each other.
dedication.
Phil's like, is that what they're complaining about? I'm like, it sounds like a factory. You live next to a factory. It's part of the problem. Now, last night, so I have this sound response team. I get texted last night. And I turn around and I
because you gave your cell phone out.
and I got the sound response team out last night, and we
And
heard
the folks
something.
The folks on the sound response team live in the area.
Yeah, it's quick response.
You have staff members that live up
and,
there.
And then we put it out last night, and we actually heard the sound that people are
That
complaining
sounded like
about.
a factory.
But like, it's just not going to be an easy thing to solve. But so it's not going to be an easy thing to solve because this is a factory that's been there for a century.
Century. I think they
A
just.
century?
In fact, I remember. Didn't they just have 100-year? I think a couple years
they
ago.
were there before the homeowners were there. There was a famous legal case. I'm sure you remember, Kevin, where somebody moved a house close to a pig farm, and then they filed a lawsuit and said this is a nuisance. Why? It smells like shit here, right?
It smells like
it
pigs,
smells like
man.
pig shit, right? And then they said you moved to the nuisance, so to speak. It was like a Supreme Court case.
That's right.
Yeah, you came to the nuisance, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
So
Good
we have
memory.
a similar type of issue here that this plant has been there for a century, and the neighbors are complaining about a sound, and it has to be really obnoxious for us to be able to go to court.
And they've been responsive. I know you called the general manager into your office. He came right away. He said, hey, we thought we identified it, but now there was complaints when the thing we thought that was doing it isn't doing it.
We heard it last night.
Yeah, and so.
I know you were on that text chain.
Yep.
We heard it last night.
Yeah, there was something.
There's something going on.
Well, I didn't think people were crazy. It was just a matter of we
actually got
identify
more ears on the sound now, and we're all like standing by ready, and we're going to have to work with Unilever and try to isolate that sound, but it's day in the life of the mayor. By the way, I did something yesterday to put some pressure on John Vesmar.
Oh,
did you see that?
Yes.
This is this
is great.
The John Vesmar program.
You guys need to be nice to John Vesmar.
We are. No,
Lindsay.
this is incredible.
You would appreciate
this is for John's health.
I was thinking about you, Lindsay. You sit next to this guy.
For the record, Tom and I have not talked about this since this came out.
I knew. This is
and my blood pressure was through the roof.
I did hear your reaction in the background
John.
when I was talking to Tiffany, though, in your department yesterday.
Did you?
I forgot my
Yeah.
blood pressure cuff.
What was I
I'm
saying?
sorry.
I think you
You're
were saying
bitching.
basically something like, this is effing bullshit. I think is what I heard in the background.
I love it.
John, I was thinking about you when we passed this program. So, I don't want to be the type of boss that says to our approximately 1,000 employees, you must get a COVID shot.
Yeah, and as a government employee, I don't know. A government employer, I don't know if you even could.
Okay. But obviously I was paying attention with interest that the town of Maryville was trying to do this to their employees. So I was paying attention to that, and that didn't move forward. And I understand why it didn't move forward, but I'm like,
Well, cities around the country are struggling with, like, how do we make sure, or how do we try to encourage vaccination?
Well, companies, I imagine, like
Without a
Tesla and companies like Ford, they probably don't want their employees to get sick either, right?
I mean, and private employers have a lot more latitude than a government employer, right? I mean, private employers are like, hey, we need you to get this, and if you don't, that's cool, but you might not have a job.
Right.
So
anyway, how do we encourage our employees to get the shot? And, I came up with a good idea. Kevin helped me. We typed it up. It's basically it's offering an incentive to our employees of 3 what we call COVID days off. If you get any of the vaccines, if you've already received the shot, and if you get it up through August 1st. So
gives you 90 days, 90-plus days, right? May, June, July.
Right. And we're thinking, and obviously if it's still hard to get a shot, we could extend that August 1st, right?
Yeah, it's just executive order.
Right, it's an executive order. So basically, we're trying to encourage our employees to get the shot. If they get the shot, or if they already have the shot, they bring in
Their card.
sign
an affidavit.
They sign an affidavit. You get 3 COVID days off.
As long as they're coordinated with your department head, doesn't result in any extra money, like extra overtime, because you didn't want this to be like people saying like it's a cost of the city.
Right.
So it's a personnel cost, but outside of that, it's cool.
So what do you think, John?
No.
We need.
He's like government overreach. I thought you were like
It's okay.
I thought you were pro-government based on your.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to have the days off, John. You can sit and work.
What's a big deal? Go work.
So I'm being punished.
No, they're being
You're
rewarded.
not being rewarded. Yeah.
Okay, what's the opposite of reward? I
Just
mean,
continue to
You
work.
are not being rewarded.
right.
But you're not being punished. You still get
Because-
your days off. You still get everything you had when you walked into this.
It's not like you have to work on Saturdays.
It's
Right.
you know
Thank
how
you,
you know how the mayor does the
Except
if you
he
can
does.
beat me at the 5K, you get a day off. What's any different?
That's right.
You didn't
You
run
can
at
beat
the
me on the
5K, John.
You can beat me on the 5K.
You're like, I'm being punished. I'm not running the 5K.
Or you could say thank you, Tom, for caring so much about my health that you want me to live.
So that's funny you said that because no. So when I heard
funny?
about this yesterday, I was pretty on edge about it.
Fired up?
I had some concerns,
This is bullshit.
but because what
Nice.
initially my knee jerk reaction was, there are people who have concerns about the side effects of this vaccine.
That's fine.
or vaccines.
That's fine.
And by the way, it's not even a vaccine
That's
because you have to
fine,
get it
though.
every 6
They don't have to
Is
get
it
the
3
shot.
days off every 6 months when you got to go back and get shot again?
I'm gonna be given.
Well, what do you
3
call
days
the
off.
tetanus thing? You call a tetanus a vaccine or not? You got to get a booster for that every
You gotta
7
get
years.
it every.
Right.
Well,
Flu shot, booster, every year.
Polio booster. Is that not a vaccine?
Is it every 6 months?
Well, I don't know. Who knows?
Anyway, but the more I let this settle, Tom, this is what I like about Tom, though, is like he's in this role. He's mayor of Hammond, and he wants to make sure the employees are safe.
Yeah.
I
Public
get it. I
safe.
get where you're coming from.
I care about you, John.
3 days off is not enough
You know what?
to alleviate my concerns about getting Bell's palsy or
Okay.
paralyzed
Bell's
or a
palsy is
blood
usually
clot.
usually
That's great.
You know,
Enjoy working while Tiffany and Chris are off, though. You could cover for him while
the head of the IT.
That's
John
cool. We
is
never
now-
have to worry about overtime because John could just cover while.
Good point.
Tiffany and Chris will be taking their PDs. They'll be like loving it. We should take them out to the baseball game.
John,
and
what
send-
would be the incentive that would make you go get the vaccine? If any, by the way, if any.
Salty.
I'm
No,
putting
no,
out-
no,
no.
guys,
I mean this seriously. No, I mean this seriously. Would you be like, all right, fine, that's enough. I'll do it.
No, I'm sorry, dude. Something in the chat just caught me. Dave Oswald passed away. I'm hearing that was my neighbor.
Oh my, are you kidding?
The one
me?
we announced the fundraiser about.
That sucks.
Did he
man.
really?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw it.
man.
Yeah.
Do
Sorry,
you
man.
consider that COVID related, John? Would you throw that at COVID? Knowing, I mean, I know he's your neighbor, and I know he had COVID, and I know that caused some problems. What
Yeah,
would
it's
you really?
terrible.
You would?
It's terrible.
Wow,
that
that
sucks, man.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, do you want to roll out to the parking lot, Linz? Or I think our Lake County prosecutors across the hall. We can bring them in if you don't mind.
sounds good.
So you don't even have to go to the parking lot. You can just
You
go
can,
get him.
you can just go
in
right
green
across the
room.
hall. Yeah, sorry about Dave, man. That sucks.
That's a bummer, John. Did you know that?
No, man.
Oh, that's
You
that
all right, man?
stinks.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. That sucks. All right, Bernie's on his way over.
We're gonna get Bernie in here.
Yeah. So hey, we're gonna start off talking a little bit about his background, and then we'll roll in, right, Kev?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
ready
we're
to go.
definitely
And by
gonna-
the way, Lake County Prosecutor Bernie Carter. This guy is leader in the area, leader in the state. One of the most well-respected prosecutors, I would say, without a doubt, in the state of Indiana.
I think he's probably the longest tenured prosecutor.
We're gonna ask him.
right?
We're
He's
gonna
got to
ask
be.
him. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's going to be interesting to talk to Bernie about the Chauvin verdict, about all kinds
Yeah.
of interesting things that are going on. I'm
What
sure
was
he's seen.
I want to talk to him about the three main cases right now: the Adam Toledo, the
Yeah.
Chauvin, and then what was the young lady's name in
or Dante Wright, how about that with the officer who shot with a taser versus a
Yeah.
gun? Yeah.
And then what about the
Brianna Taylor
Ohio?
in
no,
Louisville?
Ohio, the lady, the girl with the knife.
Don't know that one, but I heard the. I don't know the name. I should know the name.
Well, we can just ask him about
Yep.
the situation.
I'll look
Hi,
it up.
Prosecutor Bernie. How's it going?
He's coming in.
Come on in.
Okay, thank you.
How's it going?
Oh, just fine. How you guys doing?
Good to see you, sir.
This is good news. It's always good to see Bernie.
What's up, man? Nice to see you.
What's up, Bernie? Good to see you.
Hey, come on in.
Come on in.
We got the
Scoot on,
headphones right
scoot
there.
on up.
Thank you very much.
Your son looks so much like you.
Oh, I
It's
tell
crazy.
you, I know.
Yeah.
He looks like the muscle, man.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like
yeah.
bodyguard.
My bodyguard.
You want to pull on? Yeah, pull that microphone up, and we got headphones right there. if you
Oh,
want.
okay.
Yeah, thanks.
You'll
Nice to see
hear
you,
us
sir.
better.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Hey, Bernie, are you the longest tenured the longest tenured prosecutor in Indiana now?
Yes.
Are you?
Are you really?
Really?
Yeah, in Lake County, not Indiana, though.
There's guys that have
No,
been
yeah.
around longer than
Oh,
you.
man. One guy, his name is Wilhelm. 40 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Down where? Is down south?
Down south.
Tell
yeah.
him you're chasing him.
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna
exactly.
get that.
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
40 years.
Wow, that's
Right out
crazy.
of, basically right out of law school for him.
So you were really, and you were, I mean, because you were a judge before you became
Yes,
prosecutor,
uh-huh.
right? You were
Yes.
county division,
Yes.
right? And how long were you in? And that was an elected position.
It was
or?
an elected position in about almost 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
So you did that, and then you bounced from that to Lake County prosecutor. Wow.
Because what happened, Evan opening came up when John DiGiulio went to be U.S. attorney.
Uh-huh.
And I had campaigned real hard for Evan and got to be a good friend of his. And I got...
Caucused in?
Yeah, well, basically it was his appointment.
Oh, that's right.
No,
Yeah,
no
it's
kidding.
open
Because he was
season.
governor then.
Yes,
Right.
he was governor. And he had, I think about 4 or 5 people applied.
How much time was left in the term when you took over?
1 year.
Oh, really?
I had to run that
So
following
you were
May.
really?
Yeah,
Was
ran-
it a tough
ran
race?
against, well, Peter Katic was in that race.
Okay.
Stan Jablonski.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stan Jablonski. I practiced
Remember
with
that
him.
name? Oh,
Yeah.
did you? Yes.
he was a public defender
Yeah.
along with me.
Oh, yeah.
Stanley
yeah.
was a character.
Oh, yes, he
yeah.
was. Yes, he was.
I
And
learned,
after
I
that-
learned a lot from watching him.
So after that initial race that year, that next year, have you had much? Because I know there's been
Yeah,
several terms where you haven't had anybody run against
That's
you.
correct. That's correct. On the Republican side, I've always had some opposition. for the most part. But on the Democratic side, I've been very fortunate. Yeah.
Lake County. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
Lake County is one of those counties where if you have a Republican, you're most likely going to win, and it's a weird position because Marissa, I find her in the same position in November is you don't want to be disrespectful to the voters, so you still go out and campaign. But as long as everything goes according to plan, you probably get 75% of the vote.
Exactly. You depend largely on the Democratic Party, really.
Right.
And
it's a strong party here in Lake County.
Yes, it is, very much so.
Right.
So, but you still have to, as you indicated, still have to campaign.
Yeah, you don't want to be like,
Absolutely.
you're not even campaigning, right?
Exactly.
You want to right.
Absolutely.
So Bernie, I know we've talked about this in the past. I mean, do you know how many African American county prosecutors there are in the state of Indiana right now?
There's none.
Just
really?
you?
Yeah, Curtis Hill was when he went
in Elkhart County.
Yeah, you're right, Elkhart.
And he was prosecuted for 3 terms there.
Yep.
But I was the first elected in the state.
First African American prosecutor.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Were you? You weren't the first African American judge, right? I imagine.
Lake County.
You were.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was
elected. Judge Kimbrough
Right.
was the appointed by the governor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Historical.
Yeah, kind of.
That's Bernie, man.
That's awesome.
Well, I've been fortunate. Yeah.
Chasing
That's
history.
awesome,
Bernie. So, Bernie,
Yeah.
what would you say, okay, so you've been prosecutor 26 years, 25, 26 years? Okay.
26 years.
What would you say the biggest change has been from when you first became prosecutor to now as far as your job's concerned?
The view of police officers.
Yeah.
When we first started trying cases, and I remember I was in Judge Kimbrough's court, I was in Judge Clement's court, and you pick a jury and you indicate to the jury, we're going to have officers testify, sir, during this trial. Would you believe what one would say based on the fact that they're doing their job? And they would absolutely say yes. Now you ask that same question and you're going to get a no every time.
Really?
Oh, police officers lie.
Really?
Yeah, it's the worst part of it.
So
I
And
think
that's hurt us in law enforcement. And this George Floyd thing, I think, is even worse in terms of damage to law enforcement.
right.
Because
And trust in law enforcement.
Absolutely, 99%. I say 99% of law enforcement is excellent.
I agree with you,
They
Bernie.
come there, they do their job.
I agree
They
with
want
you.
to go home. They want to be with their family. They want to protect citizens. And then you get that 1% or there that
There's always some bad apples.
Always a bad apple.
But we
Absolutely.
see that in lawyers or any group of people. I'm sure
absolutely.
even teachers. Everybody loves teachers, but you get 1% of the teachers together.
Absolutely. And doctors.
Doctors,
That's
right?
right.
Everything.
That's very
It doesn't
true.
matter. Any
Right.
professions.
That's for
Podcast
sure.
producers. There's
No,
always
not
some
at all.
bad apples.
Hey, by the way, you guys have an excellent program.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thanks, Bernie.
Kevin had called me, texted me, and said, "Hey, a casual Friday." I knew that already, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But I listen to you all the time, and I
Thank you,
enjoy
Bernie.
it.
I appreciate
We
it.
appreciate
I like
you.
the dialogue between the two of you.
Yeah.
Very much so. I don't care who the guest is. You guys got it going on.
Thanks,
Thank you. I
Bernie.
appreciate it,
So-
bro.
So
absolutely.
we talked about the Chauvin verdict. Give me what's your take on it?
Well, the interesting thing about it is, had it not been for the tape, we wouldn't have that verdict, may not even have a charge. And that's kind of ironic and it's kind of sad.
Sad, sure.
It really is. But that's why I think.
You don't think the body cam would have got him? It was just the outside perspective.
Well, it might have a little bit, yeah. That's true. But just the timetable on how long he was on his neck and things of that nature.
And the perspective of that video.
Right.
Yeah.
Where you saw the crowd kind of like, what do you, even the crowd,
Yeah.
who the
little
defense
girl.
team started trying to say like they were this angry
Exactly.
Right.
mob.
Exactly.
And really they're
Did-
just like, what are you doing?
Have you ever seen somebody get
Absolutely.
strangled right in front of you?
Right.
Yeah, you become
Yeah,
emotional,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I really wish for law enforcement purposes he had testified. I think that would help
Bernie,
off with to
I
explain.
totally agree.
Yes.
If I were his defense team,
Yes.
I'd be like, I want you on the stand and I want you to cry. And I want you to be emotional.
Absolutely.
To look like a human being.
Absolutely.
He doesn't look like
Yeah,
a human
no,
being.
yeah.
Well,
He looks
especially
like a monster.
especially behind a mask.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
He's sitting there like,
Yeah.
and he even looked like, even when they read the verdict, he looked like a hard ass.
It
It's
was-
like, this is
Yeah.
part of the reason you're
Yeah,
here. It's,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
agree.
I assume that the defense team was worried that if they did call him, then they would have got into the 18 other incidents,
Oh,
other
yeah,
bad
absolutely,
acts,
yeah.
and you're going to have to
absolutely.
you have to
and
defend
that's exactly
those,
why they
right?
didn't call him. They probably convinced him that
Still, though.
there's no way you could take this.
If your life is on the line,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
If your life is on the line, I don't.
Yeah.
And I know that everybody's got things in their past, but I think you got to try to defend yourself.
Yeah,
because
because
It's always a
they are
question.
instructed,
Right.
not to take that into consideration.
Right.
But that's just nature.
Human
nature.
You want to hear
Absolutely.
what was going on in your mind.
So Bernie, let me ask
Mm-hmm.
you. I mean, you mentioned the idea that this video had so much to do with it. I mean, and really, if you think about it, a lot of what we've seen regarding kind of racial injustice as it relates to police officers have come about recently because of videos.
That's correct.
And because of things that we can see.
That's correct.
Now, do you believe that existed before, but we just didn't know as much about it because we don't have social media, we don't have the internet, we don't have everything else, and now all of a sudden we're seeing these things?
Absolutely.
Okay, and
very much so.
And do you are you able to, as a prosecutor, do you see differences in? I mean, of course, there's factual differences, but do you see some of these videos and say, well, the police officer might have been okay, or do you? I mean, even when you see a white police officer shoot a black man, I mean, you've got to have a different reaction, I'm assuming, than like me or Tom do, just because of your background and perspective.
Yeah, that's a good, interesting question. First of all, we only have a select number, I think 3 different municipalities that have video cameras on them, body cams. The state police don't even have them.
Really?
Yeah. So, but
crazy.
I think you're going to see that change. I mean, you're going to see I gave a statement the other day saying that the federal government needs to step in because these cities have a lot of financial problems, and the storage is a big issue with the videos.
True.
It's not the cameras
Absolutely,
themselves,
buddy.
as you well know. It's
We
the
spent millions just on storage.
Absolutely. So, I think the state police asked for like $27 million just to
They should
initiate
get it.
theirs.
Yeah, well, they
And
just got a
will.
bunch of money.
Yeah,
I mean,
they need it.
So, yeah, they need it.
Bernie, when we first started body cams in Hammond, the police for a couple years before we got them, the FOP was pushing hard against it.
Yes.
And then we had an unfortunate incident on Klein Avenue. I know you're very aware of. All of us are. It made national news.
Yes.
And after that, I was
Yeah.
like, guys,
Yeah.
we're getting body cams, and they're like, no problem, Mayor.
Yeah. Well,
it was like
you've been
we
on
all-
the forefront of that, Mayor. And
Oh,
that's something
we were the first in
Yeah,
Indiana,
yeah.
but like it was. But when that happened,
Yes.
I was like, these body cams could save you.
Oh yeah,
Right?
That's
That
the
makes you
point.
look good sometimes,
Absolutely,
right?
It's going to protect the police
That's
more
right.
than it hurts
That's
the
right.
police. And also, I think it's a conscious in the police mind, knowing that they have a body cam.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's under accountability.
Let's say
within
I'm a-
yourself.
If
you
I'm
know?
if I'm a jerky cop,
Yep.
they're out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's say I'm a total jerky cop, right? And I go up and I'm interacting with Kevin in public.
Yes.
I know I'm on camera.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not
absolutely.
going to be a jerk if I know I'm on camera.
Absolutely.
Protection
Usually,
for the public just
Kevin
as
doesn't
much
know
as
he's
it
on
for the
camera.
public.
And Kevin's
Absolutely.
the one that acts like the
Absolutely.
jerk.
That's
I
very
know
true.
I'm on
No, he
camera.
does
Yeah.
not.
No, I'm talking about hypothetically.
No, and we've had that situation where there'll be a complaint like, oh, I want to complain against this officer, I want to complain against this officer, and you play the video,
Yep. Yes.
and it's the person complaining about the officer
That's
that's
right.
the one that's a jerk.
Exactly.
Because
That's
they
very
don't
true.
know they're on
Absolutely.
tape.
That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely. Very much so.
But I mean, all real interesting stuff. I mean, like you've got the Black Lives Matter movement, things like this. That I think it's interesting, right? It all of a sudden brings to the forefront these issues that may have been bubbling around before, but
Yes.
now we've got to face them.
Yes, absolutely.
What's your opinion, Bernie, about police reform, and do we need to do anything with? I'm not saying defund the
Yeah.
police, because I think that's been kind
I
of
don't
twisted.
think- I haven't
It's
heard-
been kind of twisted,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah, I don't believe in that concept of defunding the police.
Yeah.
Because we
Of
need the
course.
police, believe me.
Of course.
Yep.
And but I think we definitely need reform in the sense of this. I think counseling, availability of counseling should be in every police department. I think sensitivity training should be in every police department. I mean, I'm talking about annually, not just
Right.
up front or you learn it in the academy or whatever
Right.
the case. Escalation. Police need not escalate a situation, and they need to be trained on how not to do so, as well as trained on how to handle themselves.
Can I ask you a question specifically on that?
Yes.
I love that. And to de-escalate a situation, not escalate a situation, right?
exactly.
So I'm thinking about, I forgot the young lady's name, unfortunately, the little girl that got killed in Ohio recently.
Yes.
The one with the knife, right?
Yes.
Because we're all
Yeah.
watching these now,
Yes.
right? So I see a situation like that, and I want to support the cop, right?
Yes.
And I understand, I hear everybody, she had a knife. Yes. I imagine police officers are trained to use their hands.
Yes.
And they're physical people.
Yes.
And this is a 16-year-old girl. Instead of shooting this girl, I would have rather seen the officer tackle
Yes.
or use his body. And, and I understand that's more dangerous. But that's the thing. I think that the officer actually escalated that situation instead of de-escalate.
Yeah.
And then, I look at another one like the young boy in Chicago, Adam Toledo. And in that one, it's more on the officer, in my opinion, because the kid did have a gun, and it was,
absolutely. And
3 in the
split-
morning, running down the alley.
split seconds.
Yeah.
Those are tough.
That's a tough one. That's a tough call. It
And then
really is.
you got the Dante Wright one in Minneapolis,
Yes.
or suburban Minneapolis, right, where the officer thought she had
Yes.
a taser
Yes.
and had a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, just a sad.
Yeah, that's a sad situation. And the one that's interesting in terms of attitude is the one in Virginia that the guy was traveling in like a $80,000 SUV. He had a paper plate in the corner of the window, but he was stopped because the officer thought that he didn't have a plate on the car. There wasn't no plate down
Right.
below. So he approached the gentleman, an African-American young man who was a military in uniform.
that was
Now, that officer, and I think that was a Hispanic officer, if I'm not mistaken, but that officer misread that whole situation, I think. Here you walk up to a car, you stop him for a plate violation.
Right.
Even though I acknowledge that, any traffic stop is probably one of the most dangerous situations for an officer.
Without a doubt. You don't know what you're coming into.
It could be a speeding. Yeah, you know what you're walking into. But yet, he saw this man in a military uniform, and, being a veteran yourself, I honestly believe in my deepest heart that if he was Caucasian, that first word out of that officer's mouth would be almost, "Thank you for your service, sir. Do you understand that your plate is not on your car?" And then he would explain to him, "No, it's there. It's on the top of the corner." And I don't know in that state where you put your temporary plate on, but I don't know if he had it in the wrong spot or what. But they said he did have the plate. The paper plate, so he was all legit.
The officer probably would have walked away.
But it was just, talking about escalating the situation. You need not do that on a routine traffic stop. You really don't.
And that's, I think, the sad part of where maybe we are is that, you see this and you wonder, like, if that guy was white, would that have happened?
Right.
Or would that have happened?
Right. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
How do you fix it? I don't know how you fix it.
If you had
It's
a
hard-
white
such a hard-
service member with their uniform on and
you
that
don't
police officer,
disrespect that.
I agree with you, Bernie. I think the officer would have probably said, "Oh, I'm sorry about pulling you over. Thank you for your service."
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Unless he got a call that there's a robbery in progress and this
Right.
is the suspect or likely suspect, then I can understand that.
Right.
But it's just how you treat people too. Now this officer, I believe he probably done that in other occasions too, and he probably do it. White, black, don't matter. It depends on how he
Just
feels.
one of these guys.
Absolutely. So you do have that too that kind of contaminate that whole situation. And one may think it's racial, but it may not be racial. It may just be this officer's just an ass.
Yeah, and they're out there.
And they're out there.
They're out there, man.
And that's part of the reform. I think we have to do a better job selecting officers, and we need to look in their past.
Agree.
We need to go back to high school, talk to some of the high school teachers, some of the high school classmates, and just say, what type of person was he? Was he compassionate? Was he this? Was he that? Because you don't change much. You really don't.
That's what the federal government does in big job.
Without a doubt.
I just got an interview the other day with the federal government.
Oh, did you?
Somebody trying to get a job with national security. They don't mess around.
And you need to do that. And those monies should be there by the federal government because I think a lot of local police departments cannot afford to do that. They can't hire an investigator to do that detailed work, but it needs to be done.
Yeah, this is.
Could I bring one thing up? It just goes back to something Bernie just said, is how important, and one of the things I say a lot in Hammond is hiring officers that look like our community.
Yes, absolutely.
That's where
I was going there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, to me, that seems super important. That is super important because it gives us credibility.
Absolutely.
If we're, instead of having a bunch of Caucasian officers make tough arrests, at least these officers are blended and they look like our city, which is a blended city. It's a very diverse city, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think also just, if you have an all-white police force, the police officers are just hanging around with them. When they hang around themselves, they're only hanging around with other white guys.
Yeah,
So
that's
when
true.
you have, when you're at work, you get to know people.
Yes.
You get to appreciate them. You understand them as a person, not just as an object or whatever.
Their family,
their
the
family.
Whole thing. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if you're working with people of color, if you're working with people that look like your community, that's going to make you understand them and people on the street just as well.
Yeah.
And that's important. I think that's one of the things I know you've pushed.
Yeah.
And are
We're
trying to
working
do.
hard. We're actually we're struggling a little bit in regards to African American numbers with Hammond PD.
Yeah.
But we've done really well with Hispanic officers. We've done really well with LGBTQ
women.
But it seems like we're constantly struggling to hire more African American police officers.
Well, that was a good selection with the chief.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
By the way,
I felt
he's
real,
done
I've
great.
known him for years, and I felt real good when you appointed
But
him.
honestly, JD did a great job as chief, but it's one of those jobs that just eats you up.
Yeah.
And I wish JD well.
It's like being a manager in baseball.
That's right. After a while, right?
There's a shelf life there.
That's right. That's right. But
That's
JD
true.
he had some issues with family, and he also was just done.
Yeah.
But so it was sad to see JD go, but I was excited for Andy.
Yeah.
And Andy and Jeff, and they're both just doing amazing.
And,
Yeah,
and
great
Andy
job.
grew up in the community.
Yeah.
And, he knows a lot. He knows the streets and stuff. And so I think it's one of those things. Bernie, you probably see it in your office, right? You want to have a diverse group in your office that are prosecuting cases, so they look like the community when they're out in front of the juries.
Absolutely. I go out of my way to make sure that happens in terms of looking at the numbers and things of that nature. Two things, too. Hinojosa is a great officer, too.
Yeah, Zeke.
Head of detectives.
Oh, man.
Oh, you work
He's
close to
sharp.
him.
Yeah, he's
I
sharp. I think the police department, not only police departments, but every entity should represent our community, as the mayor said. And African Americans in particular are 24% of the population. So I think if you look at your staff, you should be in that range somewhere.
That's right.
Somewhere
in Lake County.
Yeah, in Lake County.
Good for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the same way, Bernie.
Yeah.
It's like Hammond is 30% Hispanic. After, I bet you the next census we're 30, and then 25% African American.
Yeah.
And but I took over when I took over the police force was, I don't know, 85% Caucasian.
Well, and don't forget that goes back. I mean,
No. I mean, you can't just walk.
Hires in the 70s.
That's right.
You can't walk in and just
I can't
fire
walk in and just fire a bunch of officers. Hey,
That's
man,
right.
I'm going for a more blended department. You guys are all going to go. Like you're committed.
Bernie, one of the questions we always, we talk with Andy and others, and like, why do you think it's tough to get African American young men and women to be police officers? I mean, it's probably tough today.
It's tough anyway.
Right?
It's tough for my office, and I go out of my way, as I mentioned. I think when I got to be prosecutor, I had 2 African Americans and one that went into private practice as soon as I came in. So only 1 African American on our staff, and we currently now we've had as many as 13. We currently now have 10. The problem with that is, and we have 70 attorneys. So I'm pleased with that number, having those 10, but certainly they're hard to keep. They're very well recruited.
Yeah.
They don't. The money's not necessarily there, so it's hard to do that. Now with police officers, though, it's a little different. I think we need to start in school, at least junior high, with recruiting police officers and people who want to be
that
police
young.
officers.
Go that young.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so very much. I knew when I was in 6th, 7th grade, I wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't
Did
know,
you really?
Yeah, I didn't know how it was going to happen.
Good for you.
But there was one lawyer in East Chicago, Henry Walker.
Oh yeah,
African American,
I know Henry.
like a legend.
Absolutely.
He's a legend in the black
legend.
community,
And
he's
civil rights lawyer.
Yep, absolutely. And I would see him around in town. I never met him, never
That's
talked
awesome.
to him, but I would see him drive his nice, pretty Continental. He had a Continental, 4-door Continental, and he drive. And he lived in the better part of East Chicago. I lived in the worst part of East Chicago, and I would see him drive back and forth. And I said, man, I could do that.
That's
and
awesome.
And that was the inspiration for me.
You know what mine was?
Well, and you know what? That's a good point. Seeing somebody,
a role model
that maybe looks
Absolutely.
like you. That
Absolutely.
I can, right? I
That's
can do
right.
it.
Yeah.
You know who mine was?
What's that?
You know this person. Kevin knows this. And I tell him every time I see him. Leon Sarkeesian.
Was that right?
He was my instructor at Purdue.
Yeah.
I was in his class, and he was like a hero to me.
Oh,
When
yeah?
I was like I would go to his class and just like with my mouth open.
His dad was my teacher at Washington High
No
School.
kidding.
Really?
No,
Yeah,
no,
and
wow.
he was my speech. He taught. He was like in athletics and all that stuff too, coaching. But he had a speech class, and the man was just like Leon and just like Jim, so intimidating. Oh my God,
Great
he's massive.
speakers,
Yeah,
big guys,
yeah.
well, great football players too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see
he played
Leon,
for Northwestern, I believe.
That's right.
I try to tell.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? When people were a big impact on me, I try to tell them before you lose them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Leon's going anywhere.
Yeah,
Leon's
yeah.
like, what the hell's going
Yeah,
on? Am I going? But I like to make people cry.
Yeah.
When I see him, I wrote him a really nice letter.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I do. I like
and
people to know.
he's one of the most compassionate people.
I think it makes people because
yeah.
my stepfather in California too,
Yes.
and he is he's been fighting sickness for a long
Yes.
time, and he's in his 80s, so like but every time I see him, I make him cry
Yeah.
because he was my stepdad, and he was very very good to me,
See,
and and I want him to know like.
See, that's a beautiful thing.
As an adult,
Absolutely,
like I
yes.
could have had an asshole for a stepdad
Yeah,
that
that's
didn't
right.
care about
Absolutely,
me.
yeah.
I had a great guy. That
Absolutely.
really, and so I feel like it's important to tell people. That's why when I see Leon, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you
There
made
you
a
go.
big impact
Oh,
on my
wow,
life.
that's great.
So
Yeah,
that's cool to
yeah.
hear you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bernie,
Very much
what's
so.
what do you see as we were off for COVID for over a year,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
What did you see as far as crimes that were being committed? Did you see a spike in things? Did you see things calm down? What was it like at the prosecutor's office during that year?
It kind of calmed down, thankfully, because for about 3 or 4 months we weren't even in the office. Everybody was working from home.
And no trials,
No
obviously.
trial. No, yeah, they stopped the trials. We really didn't start trials back up until March 1st, and now we're going quite well. People were in, so they weren't committing a lot of these types of crimes that we normally charge.
We from our police department, they were saying that they saw an increase in domestics just because people were in.
I believe that.
And
yeah,
I know you probably don't
absolutely.
see that because you're up in felony and
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of the major crimes and things like that. But I think from a police perspective, that's what they were telling us.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And now you're going full bore. You're back. People are getting tried every week now.
Yes.
All the courts are open.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
great. Okay.
Yeah, and I think my son works in Sasha's court here.
Russell Street.
In room
All
4,
right.
and I think he would echo that domestic part of it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You got to be proud of him.
Yeah, very
he's a
much
lawyer.
so. Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Just
Yeah,
send him all the
and
cases.
the mayor also, his son's a lawyer.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that's a great thing, you know. And
My daughter-
I never pushed him, but fortunately he wanted to be one because, you know.
I never pushed my kids. Well, I did probably push my
That's not
kids.
true.
right?
I was
That
gonna
is
say-
not true. I took
Hey,
the LSAT and decided
I
this
pushed-
isn't for me.
Hey, you know, I tell my kids all the time, and I like people in your audience and to utilize that. What have you done today to make tomorrow better?
Good for
I
you.
like
I
that.
tell every one of my kids that all the time, and he just looks at me and rolls his eyes like, but
Someday.
subconsciously, it's
That's right.
working. It's working. He knows
weird.
we're obligated to better ourselves.
For
and
sure.
we're obligated to make life better. And if you concentrate on what you've done today, it's going to affect tomorrow.
I think you're right, Bernie. It's all about, and it's community too, right? What have you done today to help your community?
Absolutely.
It's
That's
not
very
just
true.
about us. People can get selfish.
Absolutely.
Like, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Or what am I getting out of this?
Yeah.
And it's about, you got to really pay it forward, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how we
That's
make
for
things
sure.
Representative
better.
Mike Andrade just informed us that yesterday the General Assembly approved that the state budget will appropriate $20 million for state police body cameras and $10 million to the local police departments to do so.
Oh,
So
very good.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
that budget, that budget that the state just
Good
passed.
job,
was-
Rep Mike.
It was the best budget I've ever seen.
Without
Yeah.
a doubt.
But
Yeah,
it's
about time.
I find it ironic that the only two Democrats in the entire state, the federal, was Congressman Mervan and Congressman Carson,
Yes.
voted for the stimulus bill that
the rescue plan.
funds his budget, right?
Yeah.
And then now you see Young and Braun,
And they'd be
everybody
like, "Look
trying
at
to
what we
take that-
did."
Yeah,
Yeah.
get out of here.
And
No,
the
I get it.
We know the
the
truth.
super
We know
majority
the
ballot.
truth.
Look at all the things we did for you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right.
Even though
Yeah.
we would have voted against the bill.
We did vote
Yeah,
against
exactly.
it. Yeah, right.
But benefiting from
They'll
it.
take
That's
credit.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Hey, Bernie, what
Yes.
keeps you up at night?
Oh, man. Not
This is a good question for
Yeah.
leaders.
Oh,
I find.
it is. That's a very good question. I think making sure we do the right thing, which is extremely difficult. Not saying that we intentionally do wrong, but mistakes, reading
Right.
something wrong.
You make a mistake on
yeah,
a case,
absolutely.
and it's a
yeah,
high profile.
absolutely.
That's
Well, you're
When
talking
you have-
about
when you
people's
have-
liberty.
And it wouldn't
Yeah,
even be you
exactly.
that did it. It'd be
Yeah,
one of your workers.
absolutely.
That's
But
right.
but I'll be blamed. And
Of course.
It's interesting
Right.
because I get hit with all the bad things, and the good things are that's somebody else did
That's
that.
it.
Bernie
Yeah,
doesn't need to
right.
hear
Yeah,
about
exactly,
that.
exactly.
Let's just bring Bernie
But,
the
we have
problems.
some excellent attorneys in the office,
course.
and I'm proud of that. But just controlling all of that and
Yeah.
knowing about all that, and I have good people. Bart McConnell is the chief deputy.
course.
Long
She's-
time
Oh yeah,
chief
absolutely.
deputy.
She's excellent.
Pete Furiel.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And and they try to keep me abreast of all what's going on.
They do great.
And yeah,
I know I talked to Barb a lot, and I talked
Yes,
to Pete.
yes.
I practiced a lot with Pete when
Oh,
I was,
yeah,
he
yeah.
was a prosecutor when I was a young lawyer.
yeah.
The thing that keeps me awake is like racial issues that we
Yeah.
did have. That's the kind of stuff. Because
Yeah.
in Hammond, that is such a if you start pitting groups against each other, a whole
Sure.
city fights.
Yeah.
like
That's
those
true.
are the kind of that gives me heartburn just thinking
Yeah,
about stuff
yeah.
like that. But another thing, I know that you're on the ballot next year,
Yes.
and we're excited about that. I can't
Yes.
wait to get out there and show you the support that you showed
Well,
me
well, I
and
appreciate that,
over the
Mayor.
years.
Yes.
But could you talk a little bit about? I know you announced early, right?
Yeah, I did. I
Right.
did. I because I didn't want no speculation that I was
Smart.
not going to run.
That's smart.
And I just, I want another term. I enjoy what I do. In my opinion, we have an excellent office. I enjoy working with the people in the office. If I didn't enjoy working with the people in the office, I would just.
Well,
leave
if
because
there
it
wasn't a
wouldn't do it.
time to keep some stability in the prosecutor's office, I can't think of a better time
Yep.
than right now, where with society kind of in flux and things are changing.
Yeah.
I think a steady hand like you, Bernie, and
Well-
just the kind of person you are, and I know you are.
Yes.
I know it's going to be good for
Let
the
me
county.
take a step back also. Like right now, having a prosecutor that's been a long-time prosecutor, it's also an African-American prosecutor, I think is very important right now because it's a balance that we need, and I think you provide that to Lake County. You give people confidence in the system, and I think that's important right now. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to get out there, and I can't imagine any big-name Democrat runs against you,
No
but if
way.
they do, I can't wait to.
Yeah, well, I appreciate
Pound them.
that.
We'll pound them if they run against
We'll
you.
work,
We will.
we'll work it.
Of course.
I appreciate
Let
that.
me.
too.
Can
Yeah.
another? Kevin and I both pay attention to what's going on in Indiana, and one of the prosecutors that was caucused in Marion County walked in and made made big waves by saying that as prosecutor he wasn't going to prosecute marijuana crimes at
Yes,
all. He was
yes.
going to basically say it's not decriminalized because the
Right.
General Assembly does
Exactly.
that, but we're just not going to prosecute it.
Absolutely.
I know that made big waves, and I don't know what your opinion is on that. With we're about 3 miles from a legal weed shop
Sure,
in
exactly.
Cal City
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
How does that
exactly.
change your job?
Yeah,
Is
well,
it-
I know I'm on the executive board for the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Association, and every prosecutor in the state, with the exception of the one that you mentioned, is against that. now, and they signed off on that. I signed off on it, and the reason I signed off on it, I'm in the office to follow the law, and the General Assembly make the law, we follow it, and I can't pick and choose. My personal feelings, nobody's going to jail for marijuana. No one's really getting a conviction in Lake County.
They just have to go to school, go to class. Or
absolutely,
something.
we do a deferral on just about every
discharge, whatever.
A possession charge. We do a deferral on that in a heartbeat.
Well, for those of you, that means as long as they're good. If you go 6 months without another charge or a
it'll
year,
be dismissed completely.
That's right.
Absolutely, and I'm satisfied with that until the General Assembly does something. I was down in Indianapolis not too long ago and talked to some of the prosecutors, and they were all convinced that the General Assembly eventually going to legalize marijuana
Someday.
Yeah,
I
I
am not convinced on that.
I think
they're
federal
convinced of it. It was some money thing.
I think Congress will do it before.
I think
Indiana.
you're right. I think you're absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Indiana
yeah.
will be going in
Yeah,
kicking
yeah.
and screaming.
Yeah.
So, Bernie, what do you think
I think
about
the federal government may act on it pretty quickly.
I agree with
I
you.
thought not.
Chuck
Years ago,
Schumer, Chuck Schumer floated a bill, and he's sort of forcing Biden's hand. I heard
Yeah.
Biden's not into it, but the Senate's actually pushing this
Yeah,
agenda.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
in New York,
yeah.
it's legal now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it really in New York?
In New York,
Wow.
in New York State, it's legal
Yeah.
now.
I mean, what do you think about all these past marijuana convictions that people have on their records that may have prevented them from getting a job, may have prevented them from applying for
Well,
a
you know,
job?
the General Assembly did create the legislation
Expungement.
to expungement. So
Really?
they were all
So if you have like marijuana conviction, you can get
absolutely,
expunged.
absolutely.
I heard
they
that
all
it-
qualify, and the prosecutor can agree not to. I think it generally is like 4 years or more, but we can agree to do a 2-year one or whatever.
Right.
You know,
So
so you
you're-
don't have to wait 4 or 5 years.
But I think that's interesting, Bernie. I mean, I think that just shows again what kind of credibility you have. I mean, you could easily just be like, I'm just going to ignore the law. But you sit here and say, look, the legislature is the one that passes the laws. We enforce them.
Yes.
And that's your position. So
Yes.
you're going to wait for the legislature to do something,
Yeah.
right? Well, Bernie, you've been a great guest.
By the way,
Thank you.
I watched our numbers the whole show. It was a huge show.
You make
compared
us
to
look
normal.
better.
We appreciate it. Yeah, you
Oh
do.
no,
You make
no,
us-
not at all. You guys.
Our algorithm looks
Yeah.
good today.
Oh,
It's
that's great.
because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate being here.
Thanks,
I really
Bernie.
do.
Appreciate you coming by.
Absolutely.
Look forward to you coming back again.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate
And you know,
you.
the Judge Stefaniak interview was a great one too.
Oh, he was great.
yeah.
It was first season. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
listened to that probably 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Joe Stefaniak's an interesting person.
Yeah, he
Like,
is. He really is.
That's what
yeah.
we focus on. We
Yeah.
want
It was good to
interesting-
get these two in a room together. That
Oh
was
yeah.
good
Oh
too.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was
Good.
very nice.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate
very
it.
much so. Yeah.
I know it's I know we're going to wrap up on sort of a downer. I know John. We found out in the show that John lost a friend of his neighbor, a friend of the show. He passed from COVID.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So John, I know you wanted to wrap up and say something about the family, right?
Yeah, I think many of us were blindsided during the show. We saw in the chat that Dave Oswald, he wasn't just a great neighbor, he was a great guy in the community. He was a football coach, great region guy all around, and just a great neighbor. So he is really going to be missed. I mean, it's really, really sad. I know a lot of people that listen also knew Dave. So our prayers are with the family, of course, and it's just a really sad thing. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, thank you, Bernie. Thank you very much
Oh,
for coming
thanks for
by.
the
We
invite.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate
thanks,
being
Bernie.
with you. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
To the friends and family of David Oswald, we're going to miss you, and our condolences are out with you. Thank you, John. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Kevin, for a great show. And again, Prosecutor Carter, you're the best.
Well, thank you.
Good to
very
see you,
much.
sir.
Thanks, Bernie.
Take care, everybody.
Very much.